On this Wednesday, Chet Lehman, Missy O'Malley, Matt Elwell with you here. What a fun morning we've had with the members of the MSU Champ joining us and all of that. Cat Grizz Week coming up. We have football championship Friday in Butte, Saturday in Manhattan, and of course Cat Grizz on Saturday as well. Lots to talk about, all outdoors.
It is. This morning outdoors is a little dicey. The snow and rain that we picked up yesterday, leaving some snow and ice on the area roadways. There may be some slushy spots, some icy and crunchy spots. That's what I heard when I pulled out of the garage, the crunch. Also, visibility is low in some areas, so keep that in mind. This morning we've had some reports of some dense fog along I-90 in a few areas. Right now it doesn't look like it's a widespread event, but definitely parts of southwest Montana will have some fog. Temperatures into the 20s and 30s. We are below the freezing mark, which means ice will be a distinct possibility. Still some light snow falling with some fog at the MSU campus. Temperatures are going to slowly warm up to the freezing mark or slightly above. That is going to not be exactly fun, but we do warm up later this week. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
Perfect in time for all the games outside.
Absolutely.
We love that, Matt. Thank you for that forecast. 6:30 here now on your Wednesday. Top story for you now, bizarre one. Wardens with Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks are asking for your help to find those responsible for killing more than 30 birds and then dumping their bodies near the Gallatin River.
Yeah, it all happened at the Cameron Bridge fishing access south of Belgrade. 20 geese, 11 mallard ducks were found shot and dumped, with a large portion of meat not harvested and being wasted. Wardens say they are unsure if one or more people were involved in this, but they do say this is well over the federally legal limit for a single hunter. And this is considered littering, which results in fines and suspensions of hunting licenses. On top of that, wardens add waste of game meat, also illegal, and comes with similar consequences.
You know, it is a waste. It's, hunting is a sport that can provide valuable meat for your family, and when that goes to waste, it's really unfortunate. When carcasses are dumped there or when there's littering, it detracts from the experience from everybody, and it shows disrespect for public land.
Fish, Wildlife, and Park wardens are still investigating a similar crime. 2 red-tailed hawks found shot and killed north of Bozeman. These were discovered last month. Hawks are federally protected, cannot be hunted. If you can help wardens with either of these cases, you can get in touch with them immediately by calling their tip line. It's 1-800-TIP-MONT.
And still no arrests in a very bizarre and violent break-in at the National Fish Hatchery in Ennis.
Madison County Sheriff's Office says someone killed dozens of fish, vandalized the hatchery itself.
MTN's Gabby Crevitt followed up with the acting manager of the hatchery.
Shock that somebody could be so brutal and moving into anger. We're definitely angry about this.
On a Monday morning late last month, staff from the Ennis National Fish Hatchery walked into a chilling scene. The hatchery vandalized and around 30 fish brutally killed.
Our display pond had our largest fish on station. My son had actually named it Big Bill. And they had taken Big Bill and netted it out and brutally killed it.
Fish were taken from these raceways and pulled out of the water, then bludgeoned to death before being thrown back into the raceways. One fish was even found in a tub of disinfectant.
And it was laying there, floating belly up, and that really made me sad. I didn't know how I was going to tell my son about that.
Hopper says the damage from the vandalism adds up to roughly $2,000, but cost is only a part of the damage.
Of course, the cost to the lives of the fish that they killed so cruelly, but also in our loss of sense of security.
So far, there have been no arrests, but Hopper hopes someone knows who did this and will turn in the criminals. In Ennis, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Now, investigators say they are looking for 2 suspects that were driving a yellow ATV near the hatchery around the time that the incident was reported.
Anyone with information about the investigation should contact the Madison County Sheriff's Office.
And a U.S. Senate committee has advanced a bill to fully fund a popular conservation program, the Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Montana Senator Steve Daines is on the panel, and he says the vote is a key step toward achieving this long-term goal. Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee voted 13-7 for the bill that fully funds the program at $900 million a year. Now that's more than twice the amount that's been funded during the past 3 years. The Land Water Conservation Fund helps finance everything from fishing access sites to city park projects.
The Land and Water Conservation Fund is a critical program for our Montana way of life. Over 70% of our fishing accesses in Montana have been funded via LWCF. And after today, we're one step closer to getting the program full and permanent funding.
Now, the committee also passed a bill to pay for maintenance backlogs at national parks as well.
And newly released data from the Montana Office of Public Instruction shows some not so good numbers when it comes to standardized test scores.
Now, the nation's report card says Montana students ranked above the national average in math and reading proficiency, but those numbers are trending down.
MTN's Andrea Lutz takes a closer look at why Montana's scores aren't improving.
Don't run. Another school day over. The Duncan sisters greeting their mom after school for pickup at Manhattan Elementary.
Grace is a really emotional child.
And Sheila Duncan says both her girls learn at their own pace.
Oh, two very different learning styles. Josie is probably more book learning, and Grace is just one of those kids that when she gets a spelling list, we're going to have to work at it every night. But Grace is also the child that taught herself to ride her bike before her older sister.
So when it comes to standardized testing, Sheila says test scores don't reflect her child's ability.
I would get the tests back and I would be like, I don't understand. Why aren't they getting these good grades?
School districts all across the state of Montana use a variety of different standardized testing. However, one method, the Smarter Balanced Assessment, is mandated in every single school district.
On the surface, the results appear grim. In grades 3 through 5, proficiency rates were just 49.8% in English and language arts, just 44.7% in math. In grades 6 through 8, proficiency rates were just 50.3% in English language arts, just 39% in math.
This isn't right. This isn't appropriate. There's a problem. We're not going to shuffle this one under the bed. We're going to make sure that we put a bright light on it. We have to shout this thing out.
Montana started using the Smarter Balanced Assessment just 5 years ago.
We get the lowest allocation at the state level.
Standardized testing is federally mandated, and since the test scores give little indication on how students are adapting. A state-by-state comparison on test scores from 11 Smarter Balanced states show Montana with a slight to no gain, and the author of the study even giving Montana an F when it comes to student growth in test scores from year to year.
Are parents liking this?
Well, you know, I'm sure they're not. I know I'm a parent. I'm a grandparent. I'm not liking it either. But I think the message is there's something wrong. There's a problem. So let's come together and figure it out.
Superintendent Elsie Arnson already knows how the numbers look on paper, but says now there's enough data to implement a plan for improvement under the Every Student Succeeds Act.
What we have been doing under my leadership is seeing what is happening between grades, and especially that transition from elementary to middle school. We seem to be having a learning curve from 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but then it levels off and then there's a decline.
This new test score data is proof Montana students have room for improvement.
If you were going to give a letter grade, as a teacher would do, to these proficiency scores, what would it be?
That'd be a C or better. And you know, that's not me. I'm an A+ girl. I am, and everybody wants to do better. That's the one important thing that I think we, as parents and as community, and even at the state, we can say, let's talk about growth.
Growth.
Well, they're all right here.
Also something Sheila looks for when it comes to her daughter's learning.
My feeling with standardized testing is, you know, we're taking all these different kids that learn differently, that act differently. If you stand in school for even a couple hours, you're going to see kids in different groups with different kinds of kids, and we're putting them in one standard box.
And 2 different learning styles that she knows she must help guide as a parent.
You know, it takes a village to raise a child, and that's absolutely true. I cannot lay everything on the school system. How did I help my kids?
Andrea Lutz, MTN Investigates.
Wow. Interesting story there. Now, in the coming months, the Montana Office of Public Instruction will announce a plan to make that test score higher.
One other note, by the way, just 12% of the total education budget comes from federal dollars. Wow. 12%.
Interesting story there. It is 6:39. We do have to take a quick break. Coming up, we're talking about the Sackler family and the opioid epidemic, where that currently stands in the court of law.
And the latest headlines from the Treasure State, court news, and others. All that when Montana This Morning continues.